Welcome to the Bladtcast. I am Christian Blatt, very excited because how could we possibly follow up the pomp, the circumstance, the thrills, the star power of Bladtcast 600? For Bladtcast 601, there was only one thing we could do. Add the great old Man Morin visiting from Australia. It has been a minute since you've been on the show, sir.
It has. It has been a hot minute. And if we were going to have the lofty height of episode 600, we have to take a giant step down by incorporating.
This is next level. No, this is bigger. I went and got the bell.
It's so big, you broke the bell.
I did break the bell. Hey, the bell was for Bladtcast 100.
That's right.
So it's been in service for 500 episodes, although I forget it very often. So you might be asking yourself, how did I get this wonderful life? How did I get here? Other than that, though, you might be asking yourself, these are two guys with, I would say, between us, thousands of podcast hours.
Easy.
How are they doing a show where they're using the shitty built-in computer mic? And I will give you one word: laziness. So, as the title of the episode says, Happy Birthday, America. Hope you like crap. Which I don't know if you know the derivation of that phrase. There was I think our friend, someone we admired, the great Norm Macdonald.
Yes, here.
Announced a Kenny G Christmas CD, I believe. And he said, Happy birthday, Jesus. Hope you like crap. So I'd like to say that this is our Kenny G Christmas album.
Yes.
Here in the Bladtcast. Brad, how is it after all these years to be back in my presence? I'll listen.
It's wonderful. It's always great to be in the wonderful state of California and visiting Los Angeles, but it is always especially special to hang out with yourself because, as we were discussing before, you are a man who is like the Sherpa of Sherpas when it comes to this town, when it comes to eating and drinking. I have not had a bad step. And as I fly to Australia from Boston back and forth, I've been doing that for 20 years.
Yeah.
You have never steered me wrong on any of these visits. And we have had some delicious treats so far this trip.
This trip has been good. We'll talk about that. Obviously, a favorite stop off for anybody visiting Los Angeles is somewhere we are not going to go before the airport today. But talk about when I introduced you to the great Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles.
So we've done that a couple of times, and every single time it has been absolutely fantastic. My favorite Roscoe's moment was the one where we were coming back from our mutual friend John Pett's wedding.
Correct.
And it was, I had the worst jet lag of my life. I'd flown from Australia to Maine for a absolutely horrific plane flight and was only there for a week. And so by the time I was flying back, I hadn't slept in a week. Worst jet lag of my life. And you hit me with Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles before I got on the plane to go back to Australia. And I swear I was in meat sweats and sugar coma. I was hallucinating like halfway across the ocean. It was truly spectacular.
Yeah, it's a spectacular place because what people I think don't understand is what you really want is the combination of both chicken and waffles. To just get a waffle, all right, I mean, I don't know what you're doing. To just get the chicken, you're depriving yourself of getting that mapley, but let's be honest, sugary goodness onto your fried chicken. Now, I don't pour the syrup on the fried chicken, but I wouldn't fault anyone who did.
You just chug it on the side?
No, I just get little bits of it left on the plate. And our visual audience, who may be the only ones to actually enjoy this experience with the sus audio, as my almost 9-year-old would say. It is very sus, which of course is short for suspect. Chris in the chat, happy Independence Day. The Royal Ball Washers denied us our Independence Day. So enjoy, you Yank bufters. Oh, I know what that word means. That's all right. I can say it anyway. Do you know what that word means?
Yeah.
Oh. It's a colloquialism that we have a word that we don't use here that starts with an F. So it's basically a similar word like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm of course talking about flashlight.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Roscoe's, we're not doing this trip. And I think it was fine. I had a week and a half on the East Coast, some days at a beach house in New Jersey, just a very rapidly paced trip to New York. I needed a little break. So Roscoe's, had you insisted, I would have happily tasted one for the team. But I think it's probably not the worst thing that we have decided to forego Roscoe in both their house of chicken and waffles. I have some photos to share.
Hey.
So this would be what Brad sent to me as he was leaving, as pop-ups come, because I'm not used to sharing my Facebook screen. But there it is. And interestingly, you were able to send that from Australia, but when you landed, we were not able to communicate. And sadly, I did have to get to a doctor's appointment, so I left you at the airport. But tell the good folks what I did after that.
Well, I mean, we definitely went around and we saw a few sites, but I'd say the big one that we hit was, of course, catching up with your beautiful wife and having delicious tacos, which was absolutely spectacular. But
we went to Home State, home of breakfast tacos. It is Tex-Mex style, which usually I don't feel the need to have in Los Angeles, but I'm trying to be too fancy showing off. Oh, there we go. Look at that. So you get a good look there at what we did that. I thought it was a fine way to start the day.
Can I just point out that it is delightful to be back in a country that serves proper lemonade?
Oh, yeah. Talk about that. You always get yourself some lemonade when you're here.
I mean, Christian's sipping a delicious large beverage at the moment, but every meal we've been to here and some additional stops, I've been giving myself the diabetes with all the lemonade, because when you eat lemonade in Australia, it's Sprite. Really. And if it's the 4th of July, I got to get me some lemonade.
You do got to get you some
lemonade. I've been lemonading like a boss, and it has been delightful to be back in the land of country time. And I got to say, as we're rolling between episodes, as they say in LA, we have been enjoying some very specific 90s tunes, my friend.
We have, and I'm glad you transitioned to that, because this is a photo that I took. Yes, I'm wearing the same shirt. Deal with it. The car that I've been rolling, not in my 5.0, no, but a 1998 Lexus GS 300. So yes, it's a Lexus, but it's also old enough to be a senator. So it's 25 years old. But when we roll, it does have a tape deck. So we have, as I'm showing, even on top of showing, the cassette to the soundtrack to the Adventures of Ford Fsirline, which music nerds will notice that clearly I got this from the discount bin. And there's some great tunes in here. It starts with Cradle of Love by the great Billy Idol, and a video that probably wouldn't get made today. The young girl who's just like, hey, I want to listen to this tape. Do you mind? And the businessman's like, I should look away, but I'm not going to, because look at her. I
forgot about that music video.
Oh my God. I think about it more than I care to admit.
Hey. I gotta say, this soundtrack, I did forget also, and as we were discussing this morning, features Rock and Roll Junkie by Vince Neil, and the most Motley Crue song they've put out since the 90s.
Which is interesting, because you know what? I thought it was a Vince Neil solo song. It is a Motley Crue song.
No wonder it sounds
It is the most Motley Crue song that they did after Dr. Feelgood.
Absolutely.
If my buddy Cardiff Electric were watching right now, and I don't think he was, he might fight me on that. But Cardiff, happy 4th of July in Minnesota, where you live.
Cardiff's not in Cardiff?
No, you would think he was.
Yeah.
It's a complicated person.
Delightful town. It's the home of the Doctor Who
Museum. Yeah, the Doctor Who Museum, I do believe, closed, but they still film there.
Oh.
Yeah. We're going to jump around for fun, even though it's 4th of July. Are you, where are you at with your Doctor Who viewing? Have you kept up? Have you not kept up?
So we hit a bit of a lag with COVID, where we went back, because Melbourne had, spoilers, Melbourne had some of the longest COVID
lockdowns. Like even more restrictive than Australia in general, right?
Correct.
Melbourne, which we can pull on that thread a little bit, but I think it's relevant for what you're about to say.
Yeah, it was 240 plus days of lockdown over 2 years. So it was a lot. And as a primary school teacher, it meant that I was home teaching a lot. And so keeping yourself sane and happy during that time was wild. And so my wife's a massive Whovian. She's the one who turned me on to Doctor Who in the first place. But we went back and rewatched Eccleston through Matt Smith during that time. And I've watched most of Capaldi, but I have to say, because of streaming service shenanigans, I didn't watch much of, I can't even think of her name right
Jodie
now.
Whittaker.
Yeah, Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah.
I was going to say Jane Whittaker, but I knew that wasn't right.
Yeah.
But we have watched most of this season because Disney.
It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah. So I loved the Christmas specials. Those were fantastic. And I've enjoyed most of the ones so far this year that I've seen. We've watched I'm trying to think, The Old Woman in the Distance or The Landmine.
The Landmine I think was first. That's as far as I've seen. I still have to catch up.
That's where we are.
I was wondering if you were seeing it. Yeah, the Jodie Whittaker episodes, I know Will and I talked about this in episode 599, which is audio only. So if you're watching on YouTube and you want to find that one, you need to find it there. Brother JP, I agree with what you said. Cardiff should join us in the chat if he's around. I would send him the link if he asked for it, but he'd probably expect $100 Canadian for some reason, even though he lives in Minnesota. It's a little confusing. But Jodie Whittaker, very hit or miss. I like this new Doctor. I like the companion. I think that's kind of fun. I do think that throughout the entire United Kingdom, they probably could have found 4 actors that looked more like the Beatles than the 4 that they. I was just like, did you not have enough photos to study what they look like? Possibly. I mean, look, I don't know.
I mean, Doctor Who has a tradition of not necessarily.
There was a Jodie Whittaker episode where a British guy was Martin Luther King.
Wow.
His American accent, not strong.
No.
Not strong.
No.
The great Matt and KC checking in.
Hey.
Happy 4th Bladtcast Nation. Hope all is well with everyone. We have Matt and KC to thank for this. He provided us with that. I believe he also provided us with these, the Bladtcast mugs, which it gives me an occasion. I would give you one of these as a test to see if it would survive traveling between LAX, Denver, Boston, back to San Francisco, onto Melbourne. But I feel like it would be shattered into dozens of pieces.
Well, I am going to New York City somewhere in New York City.
Yeah, but you're not bringing all your luggage, so it's going to stay in Boston. Unless you were like, I need to sit on Metro North and drink out of a Bladtcast. So I'll let you hold it, but I'm not going to give it to you then. I felt like it was going to break, right?
I'm going to cherish it for the
Yeah.
Until you take it out of my cold dead hands.
Well, that'll be it.
Well, there it is.
So,
I guess I'm dead.
Those are not available because we don't have a web store. But I've actually never sent those to anybody because I'm just like, I don't have that many. And I'm like, they're definitely going to break if I send them through the mail.
They're very nice.
Yeah. So I forgot to bring one to Rochester last year to just hand to my buddy Carl. So he does not have a Bladtcast mug, but
is he hot?
His last name is Hamburger. So obviously, he's hot. Exactly. So we have some other things to attend to. The big order of business will be that we're going to talk about the new Beverly Hills Cop movie, Axel F, on Netflix. And I believe it's Netflix around the world. So wherever you're watching, you can see it. But I have something to bestow upon you. It is not an Amazon Prime.
I was going to say.
But I hid it in here. I did mention this already. So I've already spoiled the lead, as they say. But I don't know how many years ago you had me buy this for you, but you told me not to buy it. Not to buy it for you because it would cost so much.
Yes.
So, let me hold it up where it doesn't disappear, but from the virtual background. So talk about what this is. Obviously, our audience can see what it is, but we have our audio audience who not only are they suffering through tinny room tone and echo, they can't see. So what did you have me procure for you, sir?
A card back set of original OG Transformers G1 cassettes for Decepticons for our good buddy Soundwave. Interestingly,
these cassettes also play the soundtrack to the Adventures of Ford Fairlane. I'm holding this up for my buddy Zach
Only
Schaefer.
Laserbeak.
My buddy Zach, it would only be my buddy Zach Schaefer, who co-hosts the $2 Late Fee 80s podcast. So yeah, I loved when I got these. I remember having these. I would cut them out and I kept them. I don't not anymore. But at the time, they were like the little dossier, and it was like these lines were. It was hidden, so you needed to put this like red piece of plastic over it, because you can't see this blue line that is very clearly visible. Yeah, that was the idea. This, I believe, did not come with the red piece of plastic. Basically, you're on your own for the red plastic, assholes. Is what they're trying to say.
The sad thing is, I may still have my red piece of plastic.
I hope you do.
Well, I have sound. I have literally.
So you have Soundwave.
I have Soundwave. I don't have the cassettes though, so this is perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Frenzy and Laserbeak. Brilliant. Thank you, sir.
Oh my gosh, I was happy to do it. It was a very long time ago, and I did have to scoot around a little bit. I don't know. Did you? Take the chance when you were taking your self-guided tour of my palatial estate. Did you see my walk-in closet past the bathroom?
I did not.
Good for you, because it's a disaster.
Okay.
You saw what my office is like.
Yeah.
Where we're not recording this, by the way, because it's too crowded. It's also really hot out there. I know it's 9:10 in the morning Pacific time.
Well, that's where Carl hangs out, so it's hot.
Yeah, I'll show you a picture, Carl. You'll understand how hot it is. So in any case, I think that I had to really look around in two places. I was convinced it was in the office. It wasn't. My disastrous walk-in closet is where it was found. But I knew I had it because I'd seen it since the move.
Yes.
And I'd actually decided, I don't think Brad's ever going to come and visit me again. He clearly, the dream is gone. The love is gone. And he'll never come visit again. But lo and behold, you've now been reunited with the Decepticons, and I appreciate it. We've got 20 people watching. This is not a monetized channel. You don't need to send super chats. Go ahead and leave comments. I want to know how everybody's celebrating their 4th of July, or as they call it where you live in Australia, July 4th.
Or what is it?
It's a bank holiday.
Is it when? Wait,
I
don't even know. Thursday?
Yeah,
but it stopped making sense when I got on the plane.
I assume it's a bank holiday. That's what I think they call it in the UK. It's just like banks are closed because there's no work to be done.
No, it's just Thursday.
And
it is school holidays though, which is why I'm here.
Yeah, you're able to take this trip. You often are back this way on 4th of July, which is great fun for people like me getting to visit with you.
It's my winter holiday.
Head down 80s/90s memory lane. Our visual audience sees that we have behind us a true American hero, Joey Chestnut, who has been prohibited from participating in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest down in Coney Island. And for that reason, we are the counter-programming to the hot dog eating contest. You're watching us instead of the hot dog eating contest.
Eating hot dogs?
If they should. They can eat hot dogs. We're not eating hot dogs. We just had bagels. No, wait a minute. What are you trying to say? What are you insinuating about Bladtcast Nation?
Well, I just realized that as this is the 4th of July and it is a great day for patriotic Americans, I am wearing a Cobra the Enemy t-shirt on the Bladtcast today. So I did not intend that as a political statement, but
we could drop in a Cobra. La, 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 la.
For the love of God.
What? No Cobra Law?
Please don't.
Oh my gosh.
What's trying to cut down?
Trying to cut down on Cobra Law. Yeah. So as we did talk a little bit about, we did have some fine food and we came. Now, yes, it's just a chain, but Brad's visiting Los Angeles for the first time in many years. And it didn't take much convincing to say, yeah, you're in Southern California. You should go to In-N-Out. But you know what's better? Shake Shack. Fight me. Come on, fight me on that. Somebody want to fight me on that? No, because you know I'm right. Because In-N-Out's French fries are garbage. That's right. Or as my friend Rob from college would say, garbage. That is probably what he would say. So we enjoyed, and you got a visual audience sees, you got a tasty strawberry lemonade.
I did.
Tell us about that.
It was very fruity.
Well, I didn't ask you to describe the whole weekend. I just wanted you to talk about what you drank.
Well, talking about the fries, though. I mean, the lemonade was delicious, but those fries.
Those crinkle cut fries.
I got barbecue crinkle cut fries, and they were delightful. Covered with cheese and some barbecue sauce. It was, I hate to say it, better than In-N-Out fries.
That's correct. All right. We're trying to hit the goal today. We're looking to hit $350. We're still $350 away from the goal. So please just start Venmoing, PayPal, Super Chat, anything you want to do. Matt, Shake Shack is Imperial. Double the grease, double the fun.
It's true.
I believe that is the title of not your autobiography, Matt, but your sort of, fact-based fiction novel, Double the Grease, Double the Fun. Thank you, Matt from KC. Matt from KC, who usually can't jump into these live streams. I guess 4th of July is a great time. I'm showcasing for a visual audience a photo. I did bring the Ford Fsirline cassette in because it was so hot, I couldn't leave it in the car. Imagine if after 34 years, this melted in my car. So I brought it in. Well, we had some adult refreshment.
I do not want to be responsible for that tragedy, so we had to bring it in.
Yeah, me either. Casey Cat, happy 4th, everyone. I'll be on the roof with a garden hose fending off the neighbors' fireworks. Good for you, Casey Cat. I'm glad. Thank you for checking in. And we had a couple of decent beers. Slightly subpar service, but, the guy was friendly, so he kind of tries to make up for it, don't you think?
Well, he forgot our existence several times.
Several times, yeah. But now when it came time to pay, Cammy Egan checking in from Chicagoland. I've yet to try Shake Shack. Definitely tried. There's a few in Chicago. One day I'll make it there. But if I were in Chicagoland, Cammy Egan, I'd go right to Portillo's. Have you ever had Portillo's?
No, but
hot dogs, sausages, Italian beef sandwiches. There's one in Southern California down near Knott's Berry Farm. You'll have to be staying for like 2 days. But, next time, maybe a time that we do plan a Disney trip. Because you've gone to Disney with my wife and I before.
I have. I was controversially, my wife still brought up on this trip, you're not going to Disneyland, are you? And I said, why? You don't want to leave you behind, right? And she said, no, I don't care. I just don't want you to drop the C word in front of a bunch of children again. Because apparently that was the thing that I did in front of you the last time.
And your wife remembers. Yeah. And by the way, his wife's Scottish. So the C word to her people, it's sort of like, how do you do? Nice to meet you, you fine C word. Which is a word we use on the Bladtcast, but because of your vocation, I won't say it in front of you.
Yeah.
I don't want you to co-sign some of those gamer words that people use. Yeah, you did drop that in front of a small child.
A line full of children. I think it was at a Small World. I was halfway through that long queue. And
it's a small C after all. Portillo's is delish. Got to have a piece of chocolate cake after you have a beef.
Yeah,
you know what, though? You're right. The chocolate cake is good there. Here's what I follow an Italian beef sandwich from Portillo's with. A Maxwell Street Polish. That's right. My dessert is a giant Polish sausage because it's so good. I go so infrequently. Sometimes I'll even get a chili dog to go. Also, crinkle cut fries. Chris, Aussie guy with a Scottish wife. Nice. I don't know what that is. Ang posta glue. Is that?
I don't speak Scottish,
but that's what do they speak in Glasgow? Isn't it? I don't know. Is it? Are you sure?
No.
Have you ever seen the first 10 minutes of Trainspotting? I don't think so. I know that's in Leith. I get it. The same place the Proclaimers are from. Hey, Brad, what would you walk 500 miles for?
My wife. And that's about it.
That's the right answer.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to clip this, send it to Kirsten, and she'll be like, all right, Brad, you're allowed to come home. Yes. So guy from Boston moves to Australia, meets delightful, wonderful Scottish woman, happily ever after.
I may have said this on the show before, but we'll go out to dinner and people will ask us, to this day, are you guys like backpackers? First of all, I'm too old for that. Second of all,
you are Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon 4. You're not just too old for that shit. You're too old for that shit quadrupled. Yeah.
I'd just like to point out that Danny Glover was 41 in Lethal Weapon 1 when they filmed that. I am 10 years older than that shit now. So I am way too old for this.
No. I think about how old parents are in movies.
Yes.
I love. And we'll both be 50 in the near future. Me a little later than you. But and you see it like Archie Bunker. I think he's 51.
What?
The character. in the show. Carol O'Connor looks like he's 1,000, but he's not. But anyway.
Well, to finish the story, people ask, "Are you guys backpackers?" And we're like, "No, we're both Australian. We're in the new Australia." Did you know that 1 in 4 Australian citizens aren't born in Australia?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that doesn't include all the people that aren't citizens.
I feel like there's probably a movement where people are less than happy about that, because I know how people feel. Even though we have a statue that's wants your huddled masses and all that, they're like, yeah, but we have enough huddled masses. And by the way, having just been in New York, the masses were huddled. Yeah, they were definitely huddled. You talk about the new Australia. This is really the new Australia.
Yeah, there we go.
This is something to show off from my buddy Jason Blair, who's probably not watching because it's 4th of July and he's got 3 kids. So this is a very large bluey that you brought for my daughter Lucy. And we can't actually read that it's best mate bluey. Right. If they sold this here, it would be best friend bluey. And of course, this I'd never seen. It's like basically Stretch Armstrong bluey for Felix. So
that's right.
Bluey is, I think, what we know. Like my kids know where Queensland is. They understand what.
Why would you want to go to the Florida of Australia?
That's where they live on the show.
Oh.
They live in Queensland, and they almost moved this season. It was heartbreaking that they were going to move and leave their friends behind, but they stayed in Queensland.
Yeah, but if they moved anywhere else, it would have been better.
But
hold on, fight me.
You fight, yeah, right. Fight me, fight us both. Okay, so that Namie said is a football manager that took Australia to the World Cup and managed here. I assume Chris is in the UK. Wrong chat for that name drop.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't know who that was. It wasn't capitalized, so I really thought you were trying to trick me. So let's see if I can get it right. When I was on a live stream, there was someone in the chat named Mike. Let's see, Mike Rack. I don't know what it was. It was like my crack addiction or something. My crack habit. Mike Rack Habit. And everybody kept saying his name. And he'd been like chatting on shows for years. And I'm like, oh, so my crack habit. And he's like, thank you. Finally, somebody realized it. People come up with these names. So I thought you were shouting at someone. But anyway, Chris, glad that you're here. Glad that Brad's here. Sorry that Joey Chestnut isn't on the TV right now eating hot dogs. But again, under protest, I might check to see what the results were. But I'm also not watching the Washington Nationals. Always have a game on 4th of July that starts at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So it starts at 8 a.m. here. I kind of like having something that's so early. Boston, the Red Sox play a Patriots Day game every year on the day of the Boston Marathon.
That's right.
So that's the other time that I can watch an 8 a.m. baseball game, should I choose. This year, the Mets are playing the Nationals. I should be watching, but instead, we're supporting Cobra.
Well,
but not Cobra Kai. Like, we got to draw the line somewhere.
No, you do.
Look, in recent years, in recent months, people are saying the phrase Magneto was right. There are times I might say Destro was right.
Destro's always right, for the record.
I mean,
so have you heard Rap Viper by Word Burglar? Word Burglar does these Canadian guy, talented hip hop.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. And does hip hop about 80s centric stuff. So he's got some great Transformers content. He's got some great Star Wars content. But my favorite content is his album Return to Cobra Island, and he's got a song on there, a hot track called something like Call Me Destro or something, and it is absolutely one of the best jams I have heard in recent years. Anything that references the 80s.
Yeah, you'll have to help me find that. I think I showed this picture before, but I didn't talk about how we also got to meet Batman. There is a Batman statue in Burbank near the area where we were walking around near Shake Shack. And I wanted to first talk about how we had drinks at Barney's Beanery. Do you remember the historical fact I told you about the original location of Barney's Beanery in West Hollywood?
I do. Jim Morrison got drunk and fell off a stool and possibly pissed off the bar?
Not possibly. He climbed up on the bar and pissed on the bar. And then I believe sat back down. But what establishment that was open in West Hollywood in those days doesn't have that story of the time? But I have no stories about the Batman pissing on bar stools or bar countertops anywhere in Gotham City. Maybe if he got blitzed and ended up in Metropolis. Yeah.
He would have.
But he just have Superman like use the laser eyes to get rid of it.
That's true.
This isn't something I plan to talk about. Are you excited about a new Superman movie from James Gunn in production currently? It's tricky. Superman's tricky. He's very tricky. Like James Gunn.
Yes.
I love the Peacemaker series.
Yes.
You want to talk about hot soundtracks. The 80s, 90s hard rock that some people call hair metal, but I will definitely fight you for using that term. And so late 80s, early 90s hard rock, prevalent on the soundtrack to Peacemaker.
Yep.
Cautiously optimistic about the new Superman with from James Gunn. Is that what I should take away?
Yeah. Look, Henry Cavill's king of the nerds.
Yeah.
This is the thing. So I'm kind of sad that he's not part of the role anymore.
Well, it was a little bit more than a year ago. The Rock was telling us that he was going to be back, and Black Adam was going to be a big part of the DCEU. And turned out neither of those things were true.
Well, The Rock may have been maybe not the nicest guy in real life as everyone's been saying.
Some people say that he might be. But you know what the thing is? You know what Dwayne Johnson needs to do? He needs to know his role. And his role was not to run an entire multiverse for a company like Warner Brothers. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, Chris, I hope this is true. Grunge is coming back. I hear it a lot in soundtracks. You mean like the entire 3+ hours of the last Batman?
Yeah.
I'm like, I get it. You know,
like Nirvana.
Yeah.
Got it.
But let's put something else in there. The last Thor movie. Look, Appetite for Destruction is a great album, but put some other songs in there. Put some other Guns N' Roses songs in there. They don't have to be that. And he has a great theory, Chris does, as to why grunge is back. Possibly because everyone is on drugs again. Yes. But these are prescribed drugs or over-the-counter drugs. If you want to celebrate America, we can celebrate the fact that in many states, in many circumstances, marijuana is an over-the-counter drug now. So,
of course.
For recreation, of course.
That is not the case in Australia.
Oh, you think?
No,
it's
where
not.
I'm living
not,
anyway.
Yeah. In other parts? Not in Queensland?
Anything's possible in Queensland, I gotta say.
That's what I hear. And this morning we went out for a Bagel Boss, and embarrassingly, the Bagel and myself, we were dressed the same. We were both repping the Mets hat. Very excited that Burbank has a Bagel Boss, which, as I was explaining to Brad, is a chain in New York, essentially, but a lot on Long Island. And there was a public figure known as the Bagel Boss because he was a guy from a video who went viral. And then he started doing a little bit of a media tour and got forgotten about during the pandemic, and probably for the best, Bagel Boss. But the establishment is still great. Maybe my buddy, Long Island comedian Tom Kelly, can catch up with the Bagel Boss guy. He does kind of focus a lot on Long Island. And we stopped by a couple of murals here in the Burbank area. I thought we'd get some nice photos of us, of you, just seeing some old friends. The one thing about that store that we went to, I'll shout them out, Blast from the Past, they don't sell new comic books. So they have a lot of collectibles and toys and things. They have old comic books, but nothing new. So it's unfortunate. But I do think it's a great shop. You can definitely, if it had been open, we would have gone in there. And it might have been harder to resist than the store we went to at the mall last night, where all you left with were 2 stickers.
Yeah, my luggage needed Cobra emblems, so.
And then what else? Did you also get the Decepticon? No, you got the Rebel Alliance, right?
No, I got Imperial Snowflake.
All right, my apologies.
The best kind of snowflakes.
Yeah, but try and tell us that there's a difference between the Rebel Alliance and the Empire. Just try. And I'm shouting out for our visual audience the artist responsible for those 2 murals. Did some nice work. He actually also did the bagel mural, so that's why I wanted to shout him out. DYTCH66, blankcanvasla.com, did some fan art in 2020. So I just wanted to shout him out. So was there any part of our world tour And by that, I mean mostly our tour of Burbank, California.
Yeah.
Is there anything we didn't touch on from these last couple of days? Brad and I have been together, and I don't mean together, but we've been together this trip for not even 12 hours yet. Yeah. So
I feel like we kind of hit it all, man.
I think
It's
we have.
been great.
So then it's time. Oh boy, here we go. Cami Egan. I've given up on the Cubs and Sox this season. Such garbage. But you can always enjoy a nice old style in the stands of Wrigley. A nice tall boy of old style, which was Harry Carey's favorite. But honestly, any beer that showed up in a can was probably Carey's favorite. Does anybody want to fight me on that?
Well, speaking of fighting, are you getting ready to slap the taste out of my mouth?
I don't think so. Is it going to involve a hot dog eating contest?
Possibly.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I had one of the best tacos I've ever had in my life in Chicago. Shout out to my buddy Seamus, who took me to a little taco stand out in a hood in Chicago that I would never be able to find again. But I'm a man who loves a taco. And
next time you're here, I'll make sure that I deliver the best taco you ever had. But you do remember on a past trip, you did get the hybrid.
Yes.
The Roy Choi's Kogi, Korean barbecue, Mexican food hybrid, which I have not had in years.
Oh, so good.
I do love that place. All right. Yeah. So we've touched off a bunch of eateries. We've dropped some very light 80s, not spoilers, but 80s knowledge. The main event. What was the name of the place? What place? Oh, the one you had in Chicago.
There's just a little taco stand.
Right, because Kame's in Chicagoland. Do you think if you asked Seamus, he could tell you? I don't mean right now, but just if
I could.
Okay, we'll see what we can do to find that out for you.
Okay.
So the main event, 37 minutes into the show. The main event, Chris, the Creep Off's most recent episode has put me off tacos for a while. The Creep Off is the only true crime podcast by men for men found on the Creep Off channel, but also on the Who Are These Podcasts YouTube channel. So, Beverly Hills Cop
Axel
4,
F.
which is actually called Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. Available now on Netflix. It premiered yesterday. So it was the perfect day. Brad comes to town. I put him to bed. He needed a little nappy.
He did.
Which I think means diaper in Australia. But you kind of needed both.
Yeah.
You needed a nappy and a nap. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. You're on that plane for a long time.
It's a long flight.
So we got to check it out. And both fans of the first two Beverly Hills Cop films. Not the third one. But the first two.
Yeah.
And like the first one is, pretty much perfect.
Yes.
The second one doesn't make the Die Hard 2 mistake that I talk about all the time. It's also the American Pie 2 mistake where you're like, let's put all the characters in it, even if it doesn't make sense that they're all there.
Yeah.
The most recent Ghostbusters did that.
Yes.
There were characters from the first one, like the Asian kid with the podcast and the girl who's like surprisingly got an internship at Dan Aykroyd's Institute.
Yes.
I was like, all right, by the way, that girl, the only performance even worth looking at in Madam Web was that actress.
Oh, really?
Actress. Yeah, she was one of them. But anyway, so the second one's still good.
Yes.
The third one, so bad. I saw it once.
Yeah.
Our buddy John has it on at least on cassette.
But why?
Because he's a completist. I get it. He likes to collect, but I was like, no, I don't want that. I don't want to accidentally ever watch that again.
Yeah.
It's the one where they're in the amusement park. My buddy Adam Hughes, the H-Man, across the pond in Ireland. God, I almost said the UK. Oh, you want to talk about somebody who would have fought me? In Ireland. I know where you live, Hughesy. We had just rewatched it ahead of Axel F, and he's like, it's even worse than I remember. I'm like, okay, good. I'm glad to hear that it has not aged well.
It holds up.
The best thing, we'll start with this. They do name check Beverly Hills Cop 3.
It was so good.
Because
and slammed it in the process.
Yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's going through like, oh, well, look, have you ever read your file? 1984, blah, blah, blah. There's some pictures from the movie.
Yeah.
1987, pictures from part 2. And 1994, not your finest work. And everybody's like, fuck yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yes.
He's a real one. Always liked that guy.
Yep.
It's the only reason my wife might watch that movie was, as you heard, finding out that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in there.
Yes, I did hear
He was
that.
good. I thought it was you bring new characters in to play along with some of the classics. You never know. So overall thoughts on Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. I don't think we could possibly spoil this movie.
No.
You know what I mean? There's nothing to talk about that's going to spoil anything. There's a character you're introduced to where right away when you meet him, you go, oh, there should be this noise. You're like, oh, yeah. Oh, it's Kevin Bacon's in this movie. Oh, what if there's more than meets the eye because it's Kevin Bacon? All right. Fucking Carrot Top.
It's nice to know the villain of the movie within 5 seconds of the character.
Oh, no, that's a spoiler. No, believe me, as soon as you see it, you're like,
oh, you're a police officer, eh?
Did you notice he had on nice shoes and a nice watch? Yeah, and a $2,000 suit. Yeah,
got it, yeah.
So, overall thoughts. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. I was going to make an F with my, I don't know how to do that. So, yeah, Axel F.
Trying to remember what the Auslan sign for that is. No, that's two, actually, believe it or not. No.
Well, in the UK, this means something else.
Yeah, I know what it means. I live in a UK colony. It was great. I really enjoyed it. Look, is it fine cinema? No. Is it better than Roadhouse that I just watched on the plane coming over? Both versions? Absolutely.
I love that you did a Roadhouse doubleheader, double feature, I guess.
On the airplane? I chose both Roadhouses over Madame Web.
Which one? Yeah, by the way. I really got to fix the bell.
Yeah, you do.
Which one do you watch first? The new one or the old one?
What's the new one?
Yeah, I get it. And then you kind of like palate cleanser. We watch the original. Let's see Swayze and his full Swayziness.
Yeah.
So, Chris, are you saying that Beverly Hills Cop Axel F was better than most recent sequels, which I will agree with?
Yes.
I liked it more than even keeping it in the Eddie Murphy world. I liked it more than the new Coming to America, which you didn't see. I would say watch it at some point. It's on Amazon. There's fun stuff in it, but I think that this story lends itself to continuing more so than Coming to America did. Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, I agree. It was fun, and that's what I wanted. It was fun.
Yeah.
I was very glad that it was sitting, living inside my TV on Netflix.
Yes.
And I would have gone to a movie theater to see it because it's Beverly Hills Cop, but that wasn't the way to see it. So it was a perfect post-nappy afternoon viewing for us. Pre-dinner, pre-Shake Shack. Yeah.
I was thinking, says we talked a lot because of Melbourne's lockdowns and because I've been busy with work since then. I haven't gotten to the movies much in recent years. In fact, I've been to see 2 movies in the cinema since 2020, Dune and Dune 2. Had this been in the cinema, I would have gone to see this because I absolutely love the original Beverly Hills Cop movies. I was thinking about this with jet lag when I wasn't sleeping last night. I didn't see Beverly Hills Cop 1 in the cinema. But back then, when it came out on VHS, there were very few VHS movies that existed, full stop. So, sorry, period. I'm in America. And when you factor that in, I watched this movie, the original, so many times, everyone did. And I'm not saying I'm special.
No, dozens of times I saw it. I'd be watching it in the morning before school.
Yeah.
And, my dad might comment on some of the language, and I'd tell him to stop being such a C word. Okay, I wouldn't actually do that, but just for the bit, I figured I'd say it. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. But so I felt like I had a big connection with the franchise, so to speak. And look, in recent years, I feel like a lot of the sequels that we've been getting, they're giving the audience what they want.
Yes, 100%. They're giving
as much fan service as possible. So, yeah. I felt like this was leaning heavily into that. As someone who's a nerd for movie soundtracks, the Ford Fairlane soundtrack, as we were talking about a minute ago, I loved that they had musical ripoffs or nods to the original and the second one.
Yeah, I did like we had the songs from both of the first two.
Shakedown.
The Bob Seger. Yeah. Shakedown, you're busted. I was like, when that came, I was like, all right, we're getting there's the Neutron Dance, right? Yeah. We're getting the Neutron Dance. And no, you know what it starts with? The Heat Is On.
Yes.
Motherfucking Glenn Fry in the house. That's what we had. And I knew at that moment, not only was the heat on, but at that moment, I realized, oh, this movie is on, as somebody might say. I don't know if the kids would say it or adults
or they would say
anything.
It's sus.
Well, my kid would say that it's sus for sure. And yeah, I thought that it was fun. You know, there's a lot of the nods to LA that you would get from the original ones. And Die Hard always has that moment that I like, you know, just he kind of looks at two gentlemen and he's like, fucking California, you know? So there's always this very tongue-in-cheek LA thing. They probably hit the beat with like the dog and baby strollers.
Yes.
You did it already. You didn't need to do it again. But it was fun. Eddie was making us laugh. There were actual laughs in this movie.
Yes.
You think that's I think that's a fair thing to say, right?
Yep. It absolutely was. I laughed out loud several times, and not just because, you know, I was having a good time. Usually when we're hanging out, I'm laughing a lot, but it wasn't. You were cracking a couple jokes, which was always good. But, you know, it wasn't that you were cracking jokes at the movie. You were cracking jokes with the movie. That makes for, you know, it tells us that it's a reasonable movie experience.
And a lot of times, you know, I'm talking about bringing characters back that don't need to be brought back.
Right.
However,
Surge.
I cannot. They're like, you know, just basically rehashing dialogue from 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I had no problem with it. You know, some people might be critical of that. I am not some people.
Fan service.
Glad. Yeah. By the way, I do think that we're the Taggart and Rosewood of podcasting, but I don't want to tell anybody which one of us is Taggart and which one of us is Rosewood.
Obviously,
but I mean, you know, your hair matches his a little bit better than it does mine. What? I can't help it. So it's on Netflix now, and I want people to check it out. And Cam Egan, I actually just said this. Axel F is better than Coming to America, which I didn't hate, but also didn't love. It wasn't great. And Cam Egan asked, Brother JP asked, have you guys heard of the place Movie Madness in Portland, Oregon?
No.
Oregon. Anybody who lives there?
Oregon.
No, Oregon.
Nice.
It's the Oregon Trail. If it's what I think you're talking about, it's a functioning, they like licensed the signage and everything. It is a Blockbuster Video. And my buddy Eric Connor, who is a semi-regular on the Bladtcast, but also I do my show Marvel Movie Talk over on Geekscape with him. He was just up there with his kids. I forget why they were in Oregon, but they went to the Blockbuster Video. So maybe I'll have him on to show some pictures of that. But
did they get dysentery on the way?
They did not. No, it's not that Oregon Trail. It's the trail that ends at Blockbuster Video. Oh. And here's the thing. When you look up and you see Blockbuster Video, you say, wow, what a difference. Oh, my gosh. The H-Man checking in with us. I hope you didn't hear earlier. I know you live in Ireland, and I didn't step in it, but I almost misidentified. No, I almost misidentified you. Adam Hughes, I believe you've also now, I referenced just moments ago how you watched Beverly Hills Cop 3. Hughesy, please describe for a Bostonian who's lived in Australia for 20 years, I almost said 30, your thoughts on Beverly Hills Cop 3, but also I'd be interested in getting his thoughts on Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, assuming that you watched it immediately when you stumbled home from the pub the night before. But he wanted to ask originally who pitches, who catches.
Why not both?
Yeah. I mean, it's 2024, Hughes. Yeah. Can we be a little bit more open-minded? There's no reason to not pitch and catch in this day and age. And Adam Hughes. Hey, old man Morin, I loved your performance in RoboCop. Can you do me a favor? I'm going to get out of the shot, and I want you to say, can you fly, Bobby?
Can you fly, Bobby?
No. Can you fly, Bobby? All right, like that.
Sorry. Can you fly, Bobby?
And you actually said you enjoyed the episode of the Bladtcast that was about RoboCop.
Absolutely.
With Doug from Good Times, Great Movies. And loved having an excuse. Yeah, can you fly, Bobby? It's all right.
So I was saying that my wife does not like watching movies again and again. We were talking about this last night. I have to watch new stuff all the time. I'm not allowed to watch the old stuff. That said, she loves RoboCop. So we've seen it quite a few times in recent years.
How many times have you guys seen RoboCop 3?
There's been no sequels to be watched. Yeah.
Correct. So
I don't need a sequel with a ninja.
Yeah. No, not with a ninja.
No.
So Hughesy said he loved your performance in RoboCop. Shame about you getting hit by the truck at the end, roasted.
Oh, he's saying I'm
Beverly.
the guy who got mutated.
That's terrible.
Oh,
I thought you were
thanks.
Boddicker. But you used to have facial hair very reminiscent of that guy, actually. Beverly Hills Cop 3 was so bad that it reverses any negative feelings that people have about racism. All right.
Wow.
That's on brand for Husey. If you want to check out Husey Entertainment on YouTube, I'll be along with our friend Kaylee, aka Lucy Tightpox, and little Lemmy will be reviewing the films of Judd Apatow. And I don't know when that episode will be posted, but we'll be recording it over the weekend. And we'll be, and I think if that episode, Husey, follows the model of Judd Apatow movies, the first hour of our show is going to be solid, but then the last third of it's just going to go straight to shit, and everybody's going to want to turn it off. But they're going to kind of hope that we pick it up. That's a Judd Apatow movie. But Husey, if you haven't seen Axel F, please let us know. Oh, look at this, brother JP. Shouting Emil Antonowski. That guy's name was Emil. Yeah. And I could see you, getting furious at the gas station and deciding to blow it up. Not now. Back in those days.
Because I am a primary school teacher, I definitely don't have that mustache ever during the school year. I would get arrested if I had that anywhere near school.
You'd be like, sir, you're supposed to teach here, but you're not going to be allowed within 50 yards of the school
with that mustache. Yeah.
Hang on, those broads have names. I just call them milkers 1 through 4. They're Kaylee and Lemmy. That's who they are. We love those ladies. They are. Lemmy is the young lady that I did a special episode of Bladtcast where we reviewed Caligula, or as Husey calls it, children's programming. Tell me I'm wrong. Fight me, Husey. No, wait, you're Irish. Don't fight me. Do not fight me. I don't want to be fought at all. And Husey was a guest co-host this week on Who Are These Broadcasters on the Who Are These Podcast Network, along with the great trucker Andy, who's no longer going by Andy Q Public, but we did watch some fun videos, including a podcast appearance by the Hawk Tua girl. Do you know who this girl is?
So that set of memes has absolutely made its way to Australia. I have to give a shout out to our good buddy Tyler, who sends a lot of good memes the way of my podcast page. And I was wondering what the hell he was on about, because I got like 25 memes from him
about all these Hawk Tua memes.
I was like, I don't understand, because none of the memes had anything to do with the girl. Yeah. It was all like Native American tribes called Hawk Tua and all these other things.
Oh, I see.
I did not get it. And then he sent me the actual video, and I went,
Great question. If Trucker Andy drove the truck that hit old Man Morin in RoboCop, probably Trucker Andy did. Yeah. So that is the so even there, even in Australia, the Hawk Tua girl was famous. So she did a podcast appearance, and we broke it down on Who Are These Broadcasters. If people want to check that out, they also talked about it on Who Are These Podcasts, the audio version of which can be found wherever you find podcasts. Who Are These Broadcasters also available as an audio podcast. Hot Carl himself would appreciate me saying that. So there's a lot of excitement when you have a celebrity of the esteem of the great Adam Hughes, the H-Man Hughes in the chat. But I do want to circle back on Axel F.
Yes.
Does every single moment in it work? No. But every scene has something fun that happens in it, I would say. Even the very broad performance from Kevin Bacon. That's fine. Yeah, it's whatever. It's I'm like, oh, Kevin Bacon's here for fun because he's like, oh, that movie's great. Joseph Gordon-Levitt probably also like, there's a Beverly Hills Cop movie. Whatever you got to do, get me in that.
Now the jet lag's killing me right now, but Rosewood, the actor,
Judge Reinhold.
Judge Reinhold. It was delightful to see him on screen.
Great to see him.
Yeah, so good.
I love him, and if they want to do a reboot of Fast Times, and he wants to see Phoebe Cates getting out of the pool, I'll watch it. I'll see what's going on. I'll check it all out. Look, there's no reason to not do that. Phoebe Cates, I'm sure, is lovely. Brother JP, Christian, Husey, Lemmy, and Lucy are the power quartet. Yeah, except for when I'm unavailable and Husey replaces me with Doug from Good Times, Great Movies. Oh yeah, I I'm coming for you, Husey. I'll be right there. I'm going to talk to your doorman. Turns out he's a fan. This is all inside stuff. You don't need to worry about that. Principal uncertainty is Bill Burr drinking again. I do like that. Come on. There's no shame in that. Bill Burr is a proud Bostonian as well, you know.
Hey, you don't know what's in my coffee cup,
That's true. You don't. This fucking guy over here, he doesn't know. Have you ever been mistaken for Bill Burr?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of thought you might.
Yeah.
I've never asked you that before.
Yeah,
that sounds like a question. I'm like, oh, I know the answer to this. I didn't. I had a hunch.
Only once legitimately, but most people take the piss and yeah. There's actually a guy in Australia who calls me South Costigan because he thinks that that's either actually a place or thinks because I'm from Boston. That's a thing.
South Costigan.
Yeah.
Hashtag
departed.
Departed. He's going to the Departed.
But I have to say Eddie Murphy, was great, although noticeably slower.
Yeah, but he should be. 40 years after the original, you know.
True. However, when you watch the original one, he's clearly hungry. Like he's trying to get famous. He's trying to do his thing.
Oh yeah.
He's got there's serious ADHD, and as an adult with ADHD, there's that churning. The Axel F character clearly has the attention deficit disorder.
Yeah,
always moving on to the next thing, never really following up, constant chaos and motion. And that worked really well in the second movie as well, as we discovered. Not in the third movie. However, I think there's I was actually watching that for this watching. Are you going to get that rolling chaos with the character this time? And I think they did a good job of communicating that in a old man kind of way, as an old man with attention deficit disorder. It actually, it read right. And I'm not trying to make everything neurodiverse or anything like that. I just that chaos energy. I thought it grew up well in this one, and it played well.
Yeah, I think, again, it's easy to compare to Coming to America because he's also revisiting a past character.
Right.
He's been a king for 30 years in that movie, so it, again, was a little slower. But, I think, yes, he's still able to pull off, action sequences that are incredibly improbable. The opening sequence at the hockey game is kind of fun.
That was great.
I like that we got a little bit of Paul Reiser, just about the right amount. It wouldn't have made sense to have more of him.
100% the right amount.
Glad to see him. It's fun if you're an 80s nerd like us, and if you're watching the show, especially if you're watching live or if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, you probably are an 80s nerd like us, 80s/90s nerd, let's be honest. And you probably would enjoy it. It helped that the previous entry was Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Yeah.
The bar could not have been lower.
Exactly.
If they'd made the first one and then it went right to this.
That would have been not as nice.
Yeah.
So maybe this is a little bit of a spoiler, but one thing I was thinking when we were watching the movie is one of the cool things in the original movies is the car scenes with Billy and Taggart.
Yes.
And I was thinking it's a shame we don't get that in this movie, but they snuck it in.
They realized it was missing, and it didn't entirely make sense because of
they called him Sarge
because of Taggart's rank.
Yeah, but I can get it. It's an affectionate term.
It's fine. You're used to calling him Sarge.
Yeah,
and I was glad we got that, and we got Eddie in the back seat, and then
trust me.
Yeah. If they want to figure out a way to make another one, sure, I'll watch it. But you don't need to. I'm just saying if they did, I would watch it. And Taylor Page is the new actress to the film. She played Jane Saunders. I think it was good because you wanted cold, career-minded person who's distant from their father, and I think she played that well. And then they started playing together a little bit, and you're like, there's that Axel Foley blood. And Chris said that I assume he's talking about Axel F. It's a film I put on instantly and texted my dad to tell him it was there to watch, and it was funny. Yeah,
it was.
Your dad's probably our age, if I have to guess, Chris. So I would appreciate that. Although my son's only about to turn 9. So if he texted me, I would say first, when did you get a cell phone?
That's
who's paying the bill.
Yeah.
That is sus.
That's sus.
And also, what are you doing watching Beverly Hills Cop? Axel F.
I mean, to be fair, though, I'm pretty sure I watched Beverly Hills Cop 1 when I was about 10.
Yeah, so it came out it came out in 84.
It was
so
84.
I was probably 8. Yeah, maybe by the time I saw it, it was 9. I did not see it in the theater.
That was 9.
Beverly Hills Cop 2 I saw in the theater. RoboCop I saw in the theater. Apparently 1987, that was the year I could see everything, including RoboCop. Check back to Bladtcast. I think that was 597 with Doug from Good Times, Great Movies. Maybe 598. But, it's recent in the feed is the moral of that story. So it really had fun with it. And, I think that I could not have asked for more from it. And it's more than I would have asked for. You know what I mean? It didn't need to be as good as this.
Yeah.
For me to walk away from I'm glad I watched it. It's if Hughesy's still there, it just needed to be better than Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon films on Netflix. Hughes has a very strong stance against films produced specifically for streaming, but this one I think works.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder, Rebel Moon. I watched both of those because we did an episode on Zack Snyder.
Mm-hmm.
We did is Zack Snyder a hack? I think you can guess the answer to that. We did is Quentin Tarantino a hack? And I firmly stand with he is not. But Jackie Brown is even more boring than I remember. And
it is so boring.
Less
it was
watchable.
so boring when I watched it originally.
It's like, let's drive around and listen to the soundtrack. No, that's not the way your films are supposed to go. Principled uncertainty. My son was addicted to Martin Lawrence films since he was small, but he never got Beverly Hills Cop. At least we bonded over hating Will Smith. I like that.
Did the new Bad Boy?
It's
going to come out?
Yeah, it came out.
Any good?
I haven't seen it yet. See, if you hadn't been tired, that was going to be one of the.
Oh.
But after flying 18 hours, that was the last thing Brad needed was to sit in a darkened movie theater in comfy chairs.
Well, the number of times we've done that, then we've watched really shitty Transformer movies.
We've seen so many Transformer movies. We saw at least 2, and not. You could say the good ones, but the better ones.
Yeah.
It was last night.
Yes.
And did we see Bumblebee together?
No.
Bumblebee's not bad. I like Bumblebee. Bumblebee is the best of the live action Transformers. Fight me!
That was supposed to be the original G.I. Joe
origin story.
Well, the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover.
Oh, okay.
That was going to lead to the Energon universe coming later, which is apparently now going to happen.
Oh.
Hashtag.
Well, I'm glad you're up on that.
He was supposed to be John Cena was supposed to be Duke, but no one could see him, so they had to give him another name.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So I will say that Bumblebee is the best live action Transformers movie, but the best Transformers movie continues to be the first one from 1986, where as children we were horrified to watch our friends murdered.
Yes.
And Chris loves Jackie Brown. A lot of people do. We didn't enjoy it.
When you absolutely positively have to be bored in the movie theater, that is the movie.
I appreciated Bridget Fonda wearing a bikini top for most of the movie. I was able to go back and say, this is a good choice. Thanks, Quentin. And then he has to go put her feet up because he's Quentin.
Yeah.
Have you kept up on Tarantino movies? Did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I did. It was good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's a great one. And he says
Hateful Eight was good.
I loved Hateful Eight. Yeah. So he's still at it. I'm trying to remember what else we want to talk about because we do have to go to the airport momentarily. I want you to take a moment and talk about what you do and where it can be found. Explain it to the Bladtcast audience like they're children, which as an elementary school or as you would say primary school teacher, I think you can explain. So go ahead.
So I host a show called Cast Dice and several podcasts on that network. It is CASTDICE. We have done some movie breakdowns in the past. We've done a few comic book breakdowns. Christian has been a part of some of those. Typically, though, we do tabletop gaming, not even the interesting video gaming like board games, but more often tabletop miniature games. A lot of folks love them, and we talk about them. I've been a long time gaming freak, and so we talk to all sorts of people in the gaming industry, both the people who write the games. The big byline of the show is there are too many good games that we can spend our hobby time and our hobby dollars on, and it's hard to know what to play next. Yeah. And that's what we talk about on the show.
And I did check it out years ago just because I was like, I want to like hear Brad's chops as a host, and I'm like, oh, if I was in this world, this would be a fun show. I don't really know the world, but we did an episode on Dark Phoenix was I think for my show, or maybe we did it for both.
We did
one of those. We did do Silent Interlude, G.I. Joe number 21.
We talked about it an awful lot, but I don't know if we actually did it.
Well, there you go, future show.
Yeah.
Let's see. JP, I forgot if you guys watched the director's cut of RoboCop or the theatrical version for the review. So my flex to Doug from Good Times, Great Movies is that I have a standard def DVD of the Criterion cut of RoboCop, which the Criterion Collection cut is the version that they wanted to put in theaters, but if they had released that version, it would have had to be rated X. Now, it would have been rated X for extreme violence, and it's only slightly shorter. They'd have to take out some frames of like fingers blowing up too much, and the gore is just, well, it's a little bit more cartoony, because that whole film is really satire. So they really didn't, it's not that different. It's just the gore is a lot gorier. And Principled Uncertainty loved Bumblebee. It was critically acclaimed for a Transformer movie, if not loved by the box office. They abandoned the concept of individual origin stories immediately. Why, good why? I agree.
Because you needed Optimus Primal, I guess.
Optimus Primal, which, as we've talked about on the show, my son Felix fell asleep during the third act of Rise of the Beast, which was too bad because that was where all the action was, and he didn't want to see all of it. Maybe I'll show him the third act. So we've told people where they can find you, Brad.
Yes,
and we'll have to, one of the reasons you haven't been on in so long is because you haven't been here in so long.
Sure.
But I think we can figure out the technology, and we'll have to.
Well, we both use StreamYard, so.
Yeah, and there's
spoilers.
Transformers 1, I think is what it's called, coming out in the fall. So maybe I'll gift you some money so that because I know how much it costs to see a movie there, and maybe we'll review that.
Hey,
together.
I'm rolling in big teacher dollars, baby.
Oh, that's right.
I'm rolling in a public school teacher's salary.
Well, and as I said, we do have to get Brad to the airport so he can get back on his travels. But
there's only so many hours I'm allowed in LA contractually before I have to get thrown out.
It's actually under 24.
Yeah.
That's really what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'll basically be dropping you back off the airport just under 24 hours from when I find.
And if my plane's delayed, they pick me up at the airport, drive me to the edge of town, tar and feather me, and kick me out.
After you're tarred and feathered, you're put into carbonite. Keep OMM less. Keep all Man Morin. Less Blatt is always good. I like that you're OMM and I can't figure it out. Less Blatt is always good. Yeah, look, Principled Uncertainty, you're not wrong. I'm never going to say that what the Bladtcast needs is more Blatt.
Well, I have to say that I'm here visiting Christian, and I would definitely not come visit myself. So, I'm clearly a fan.
I didn't see this question. Am I a homosexual for liking Jackie Brown all of a sudden? And Brother JP says, not at all. It's one of my all-time favorites. Some people don't appreciate the slow burn. Yeah, I didn't. It's just that simple. I didn't appreciate the slow burn. Mm-hmm. And maybe if it was Quentin's first film and I had nothing to compare it to, and it was the first time I saw him, I would think about it differently.
Yeah, but Reservoir Dogs is this.
Yeah.
That's a movie.
And Pulp Fiction is a masterpiece.
Pulp Fiction or Pulp Friction?
That was a Norm Macdonald joke. Yeah, I tried to order Pulp Fiction, but instead I got a film called Pulp Friction. And Letterman's like, seen that. And he's like, oh, you haven't? Anyway, bless Norm.
I was given that for my birthday one year.
Pulp Friction.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I would have called the movie Pump Friction, but I also understand you want to try to preserve. Yeah, exactly. Pump Friction. Maybe that is the title. Either way. In any case, I appreciate everybody who joined us in the morning of 4th of July as we, or some of you, it was the afternoon, I guess, is the morning for me, as we celebrate fireworks. And we will not send you off with Katy Perry's fireworks. Instead, I think we will have a selection from here, which would be Andrew Dice Clay.
Hey, I Ain't Got You by Dice Man is an excellent song on that.
I want to let people hear that.
Not hashtag Ford Fairlane soundtrack. Yeah. Ain't Got You.
Everyone rush out and buy the cassette of this in the discount bin, so that they can see and listen to the Adventures of Ford Fairline. Reservoir Dogs was a work of genius, but Pulp Fiction is a shiny mess, in my opinion. That's a hot take.
Dude.
And you might not be wrong, but the Christopher Walken, he kept it in his ass. I got nothing to say about that. It's got great dialogue and style.
Obviously, it's talking about Ford Fairline.
Yeah. There. I just wanted to be helped. Hey, you got the bonus plan. Hey, do my dishes. Did you think we would kill the fucking koala? All right. from getting into Hickory Dickory Dock. I'm looking at the clock. The clock struck 2. Brad's going to put on a shoe, and I'm going to send him off to Denver. It didn't really rhyme. All right. Look, it's hard to do what Dice does. Anyway, thank you to old Man Morin. Check out Cast Dice, and we'll have to have him back. And we will see you next time on the Bladtcast.